The 2014-2015 girls basketball season was my first year covering girls basketball, and it was a great ride. It was a great season to watch, a lot of great players in Howard County, and a lot of great teams this year. Appleton was really the story of Howard County this year in a deep competitive league, and they were led by senior Chelsea Mitchell, who has had a great career, reached a big milestone this year, scoring her 1,000th point. Senior Sage Mayhew, she was a great rebounder. She was always throwing herself on the floor to get steals. And junior Caitlin Burmester, she was also a great rebounder. She's going to be back for them, as is sophomore Fran Vanagas. Another Mitchell in Howard County was Anna Mitchell over at Centennial, also a great scorer. She is a multi-sport athlete. She scored her 1,000th point this year as well, so both Mitchell girls. She had some great players around her as well, Anna. She had a freshman, actually, Kelly Simmons, who kind of came out of nowhere, her varsity debut, and a fellow senior for Centennial, Kimmy Eads, great scorer, as well as junior Allie Driscoll. I mentioned Mount Hebron. They really seemed like the team coming into the season that would be the favorite for the county title, but they had a great year. A couple of seniors for them, Megan Doherty and Megan Koenig. Koenig was kind of that slash player, could play forward, could play guard. And then Megan Doherty, she's an excellent lacrosse player, and you kind of see that on the basketball court. Another player from Mount Hebron was Nia Crump. She was a guard in previous years and moved to the post this year to help the team out. Gabby Green is a junior from Mount Hebron. She'll be back, and she's one of the tallest, most athletic players in the county. Looking at another team that maybe wasn't in the county title race all year, they kind of took their lumps, but they ended up going farther than any other team, was Oakland Mills. But a player like Tori Diggs, their senior, she wasn't a big scorer in every game, but when she did need to score, for example, in the regional championship, she came through with some huge baskets. And she used some of the players around her, like junior Nigel Lockwood or Theta Jackson. Those girls put up some huge numbers. The Howard Lions were the defending county champions, and they had some of the best players in the county. You look at Natalie Talley was their senior guard, sharing the backcourt with her, Jada Gilmore, just a really great player. Junior Barrett Batterton, who is a big post player, and then sophomore Emily Scott, and she's going to go on to some big things for Howard next year. They're going to rely on her a lot. Glenelg is another very exciting team to look out for next year. Freshman Jess Foster was one of the most exciting players in the county to watch this year. Julia Wolfrey is only a sophomore, so she's going to give them another great weapon next year. Long Reach, another team with some youth. They weren't quite there in the county title race this year, but they won their share of games, and you look at their freshman point guard, Kiana Williams, one of the best handles in the league. Jaya Green is only a sophomore for Long Reach, so those two are going to be doing some big things over the next couple years. River Hill kind of had a uncharacteristically average year. They were right in the middle of the county, but they do have some good players coming back next year with Sydney Poindexter and Jess Hopkins are both juniors. At Marriott's Ridge, you had the Blaylock twins. They're both sophomores. They're going to continue to grow, and they led Marriott's Ridge to some of their best basketball later in the year, as did junior Carly Miller, who's more of a lacrosse player, but one of those athletes that excels at lacrosse and then gets on the basketball court and does a lot of things with her athletic abilities. Reservoir also had a tough year, but they have some players that weren't going to give up. Junior Mary Dudzinski, she should be one of the top post players next year. And sophomore Haley Tiller had some really exciting games for them. Over at Wilde Lake, they had kind of a disappointing year, but you look at junior Rachel Lazarus. She unfortunately had a hand injury and missed a lot of time this year, but when she's shooting the ball well, she can be one of the most effective three-point shooters in the league. And sophomore Kamari Robinson actually transferred in from Glenelg Country, and she became an effective scorer for Wilde Lake. Hammond had some exciting games this year. They were sort of near the bottom of the league, but Shawnice King was one of the league's top scorers, and Lauren Terry is a nice, big, tall athlete who could score in the paint, could dribble a little bit, could pass the ball. Glenelg Country competed in the IAAM B conference this year, and they didn't go too far in the playoffs, but they had a player with a really strong year. Deja Hersey earned all conference honors. So Howard County girls basketball is only going to grow over these next few years, and while no team made it to the state finals this year, you have to think that with all these good players coming up, we have some bright outcomes ahead of us over the next few years in Howard County girls basketball.